Canadians love trucks. I sure do. I brought two of mine along here today. Now, the best-selling vehicle in Canada, car or truck, is the Ford F-150, and it's been that way for more than a decade. It's been a long road from work machine to everyday driver, so let's have a look at some pickup truck highlights over the years. It's believed the first gasoline-powered truck was built in Germany by Gottlieb Daimler, whose company would later form Mercedes-Benz. In 1896, he took a horse-drawn wagon and put a two-cylinder engine on the back. 3 years later, he produced a truck with its engine on the front. It wasn't long before other companies started building their first trucks. Many of the early delivery vehicles were electric. Winton seems to be the first in the U.S. to make a gasoline-powered truck, followed by companies such as Rapid and Reliance. These were all wagon-style work trucks, not pickups, but keep those two in mind because they'll be important very soon. Ford's famous Model T came out in 1908, and soon after there was a version with a single seat in the rear, but you could take that off and have a flat surface for carrying cargo. In 1917, Ford added the Model TT. It was a one-ton chassis based on the Model T car frame, bigger and with a heavier-duty rear axle. But Ford only built the chassis, and you went to an independent company to get the body built for it. Then, in 1925, Ford made the first factory-built light-duty pickup truck. It was a Model T car body with a truck box, and it cost $281. Of course, today, that wouldn't buy you a set of running boards on an F-150. General Motors was started by Billy Durant, who bought existing car companies and made them part of GM. Remember Rapid and Reliance? Durant bought both of those in 1908. He set them up in a new sales agency, the General Motors Truck Company. That's GMC for short, and no, I don't know where the T went. But the first truck badge with GMC came out in 1912. That makes GMC trucks older than Chevy trucks. Chevrolet began in 1911, and it first offered a truck chassis in 1918, but you had to build the rest of it. Chevy didn't make a pickup truck straight from the factory until 1930. Dodge started as a car company in 1914. It sold components to a company called Graham Brothers, which used them to build trucks. In the 1920s, Dodge began selling Graham trucks through its dealers. Dodge then bought Graham's truck business, and now we had Dodge trucks, which today are called Ram. There were many other companies making pickup trucks, such as Studebaker and Hudson and Diamond T. Mack made a pickup for a while, and so did International, but all those pickups are long gone. There's another side to Canada's truck segment, and that's from Japan. Nissan built its first Datsun truck in 1934, and Toyota made its first truck in 1935. But it took a while for them to cross the ocean. The Datsun pickup was first sold in the U.S. in 1958, and Toyota arrived with its compact Stout pickup in 1964. Only 4 people bought a Stout that year. Toyota did better with the Hilux 5 years later. That was renamed the Toyota pickup, and in the 1980s you could even get it with a diesel. It was completely redesigned in 1995 and renamed the Tacoma. The T100 was introduced in 1993, and that would eventually become the Tundra. After its first import, Datsun gradually upgraded its trucks with more horsepower. In 1983, it built its first truck in the U.S. in a new plant in Tennessee. The Frontier came out in 1999, and it included the first compact crew cab truck available with 4 full-size doors. The Titan came out in 2003. Ford's pickup got a full makeover in 1948, along with a new name, the F-Series. Ford added factory-installed four-wheel drive in 1959, and Chevy added it a year later, but both were late to the party. Jeep was the first with a light-duty 4x4 pickup in 1947, and International added it in 1956. International also had the first 6-passenger seating in 1957 in a truck called the Travelette. It initially had just 3 doors, with a 4th one added in 1961. The first extended cab truck was the 1973 Dodge Club Cab, which only had 2 doors, but a longer cab behind the seat. Today, crew cabs are the most popular of all, and regular cabs are hardly in the running. Toyota, Nissan, and Ram don't even offer 2-door trucks anymore. Also in 1973, Chevrolet introduced the Big Dually, the first lighter-duty modern pickup with dual rear wheels. Back in the 1930s, a few companies made what they called utility coupes. Some had a pull-out box in the trunk, while Chevrolet took the trunk lid off and welded a pickup bed in the back. Ford came back to this idea in 1957 with its all-new Ranchero, a station wagon with a pickup bed. Chevrolet followed in 1959 with its new El Camino. The Ranchero lasted until 1979 and the El Camino until 1987, but they weren't alone. There was the front-wheel drive Dodge Rampage and the Plymouth Scamp of the early 80s, based on the Dodge Omni and Plymouth Horizon. There was the Subaru Brat and then the Subaru Baja. And Volkswagen even made the Rabbit into a pickup truck, known to the rest of the world as the Caddy. Today, Honda makes the Ridgeline based on its sport utility platform. And at Hyundai, work is underway on the Santa Cruz, which will be a light-duty unibody pickup. There have been a lot of brands in the truck business. Cadillac had the Escalade EXT, based on the Chevy Avalanche. Lincoln took two cracks at it, first with the Blackwood and then with the LT, both based on the Ford F-150, and neither of which lasted very long. Mazda had the B-Series, based on the Ford Ranger, which sold relatively well. Mitsubishi tried it with its Raider, a retrimmed Dodge Dakota, but it didn't do too well. And Suzuki made its Equator off the Nissan Frontier just before it stopped selling vehicles in Canada altogether. Canada even got a few trucks made just for us, including the Ford-based Mercury M, GM's Maple Leaf truck, and the Dodge-based Fargo. But they're all gone too, and today our market is body-on-frame, full-size, and mid-size trucks from GM, Ford, FCA, Nissan, and Toyota, plus Honda's mid-size Ridgeline. And from those companies, Canadians bought more than 400,000 pickup trucks in 2019. It's safe to say that more than a century later, trucks are still making history. For Driving.ca, I'm Jill McIntosh, and for more pickup truck content, check us out on Instagram and Twitter.